Ah, dear Cup. If I didn't believe in Slime Jesus, this is the real OG right here. Kiss the mic. Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, where I, the crown Jules of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes you the person sitting there thinking to themselves, can I do this today? Am I really good enough to do this? Yes you are, punch that self-doubt right in the dick, just punch it until its dick falls off. Because you're a ledge. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week. And this week we have Gingerish to thank for their suggestion of the weirdest stats that video games keep track of. Now this is the thing, I love video game stats. In fact, back in the day when I used to play a lot of Halo 3, there was nothing that I liked to do more than go to BungieNet and look at all the places that I died, and all the places that I could see people camping, and then also all the people that I've absolutely murdered with the energy sword over and over and over. Yes, I was that type of player. Stats, in short, they're very cool. However, some games tend to keep track of rather odd things, not just your kills and losses and deaths or where you died over and over and over, but in fact of things that you really wouldn't want people to know you've been doing. These aren't like achievements that you're ashamed of, they're actually even worse because the game was basically just there just going, oh, done one of those, have you? Not even going to get a reward for doing that, but okay, tick. So with this in mind, I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are the 8 strangest stats that video games keep track of. You know the drill by now. Put your comments down below for what you want to see in next week's episode. Say hi to me here in the live chat. And remember, you're a goddamn ledge. Now let's get on with the list, shall we? Yes, we shall. Number 8, corpses eaten. Fallout. The Fallout franchise is unquestionably dark. Around every single corner there's a fight to be had, be it with horribly mutated enemies or chem fiends and gangs that are just looking for a bit of the old ultra-violence. So is it any wonder that sometimes that we, as the courier, the chosen one, the endless wanderer of the wasteland that we are, might fall a little bit to the dark side every now and again. I mean, after all, if you spent this much time in the irradiated wastes alongside such reprobates, you too might find yourself falling into a life of crime and theft, and after all, it is survival of the fittest, and you need to do whatever it takes to make it through the day. However, petty theft and a wee bit of murder, that's one thing. Eating corpses, that's decidedly different. Yes, you can, if you so fancy and have chosen the right perks, have a quick munch on some man matter, but let me tell you something, it's not going to go down too well. In fact, not only are you going to get absolutely chewed out by the people around you, good joke there, Jules, thank you very much, Jules. Why are you talking to yourself? Don't know, just carry on with the segment. Yeah, not only will you get absolutely chastised by the people around you, but also the game keeps track of how many corpses you've eaten. So even if it was just a passing fancy that you were just like, go on, let's have a little, see what it, go on, let's have a little cheeky wee munch, the game will mark it forever. 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 So much so that I wrote a poem. Yes, that's right, it's time for today's musical interlude. Are you ready, Osley?
How about, mate? You just
I will take that as a yes. And James, are you ready to chow down on some glorious tunes?
Yes.
Of course you are, because you're just happy to do anything, aren't you? I love you, mate. Spoken word time. With the cannibal perk, whether face, neck, or feet, you can, like your mum, indulge on some man meat. But don't go for this one, it's a bit cold and chewy, and definitely don't eat the spleen. That's a bit gooey. But whenever you're chowing down on some humble rump pie, just remember that little slime Jesus in the sky. For each time you take a bite and be a bit of a knob, you're cementing your friendship with Beelzebub. Praise Slime Jesus. Number 7. How many orphans you've made. Alpha Protocol. Now, the amount of people that a player kills in a video game is a pretty common stat to track. I mean, after all, it can be very impressive to just take a step back from the game, load up that stats menu and realise that you've literally murdered the entire populace of Torquay in the span of an afternoon. Like, it's not good that you've done that, but my god is it impressive that you've destroyed the English Riviera. Torquay, where dreams go to die. It was the town over from me. Peace, absolute toll. However, there are some games that definitely want to make you feel bad for all the death and destruction that you've unleashed. Take, for example, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which tracks how many people you've killed and then makes you face each and every one of them again during the boss battle with the Sorrow, which can definitely make for quite a slog if you've got an itchy trigger finger. However, Alpha Protocol goes one step further, as the game doesn't so much track the numbers of kills that you've made, but rather how many orphans that you've made. Yes, that's right, for whatever reason, this game doesn't track your kills, but the amount of kids that are going to have a very, very, very sad Christmas thanks to your actions. And I get that it's meant to be a stealth game and that non-lethal takedowns are to be encouraged, but still, do you need to make me feel like such a monster? Well, probably, yeah. I probably do deserve everything I get in this game. Well, now you've got another reason to subdue rather than strangle. You're welcome. Number 6, Arcade Awards, TimeSplitters 1, 2, and 3. Oh, my, the TimeSplitters franchise. Each game in this magnificent trilogy offered up some of the best first-person shooting party action, so much so that every single one of them became a mainstay in my weekend gaming sessions with my friends. From throwing bricks at each other in TimeSplitters 2 to making your own levels in Future Perfect, there was so much fun to be had. And that's before you add in all of the arcade challenges, the hilarious characters, the sublime story mode, all of the guns, monkeys, robofish. Enjoyment overload! Free Radical even found a way to make stat tracking fun. That is how bloody good they were as developers. Because after each round, alongside your accuracy and kill-to-death ratio, you would find a few choice words describing your actions in the previous game, and some of them were utterly hilarious. From Ricochet King that tracked if you bounced bullets off the walls and still missed, to Hoarder, which is what you got if you grabbed all of the guns but didn't use them, to my personal favourite, Most Useless, which only drops if you contribute absolutely nothing to a capture the bag match. Utter brilliance, and it is very deserving of the new and improved Golden Chef Kiss Award. Right, well, that's it. Golden Chef Kiss Award. That's one and done. That nearly killed me. I'm not doing that again. That's what you try and get for fisting your own throat.
Number 5. How many people your machines have mangled? Suspended. Because Jules forgot.
So, Suspended is a rather bleak text-based adventure game that came out in 1983 and was published by Infocom, and I want to talk more about it, but first can we just address that the box art looks like John Cena, but with the eyes cut out and possibly John Cena behind John Cena's mask watching you? Just me? Okay. In this game, you are a machine, or technically you're a human that's been plugged into a machine, and you're in charge of the food, transport, and weather of an entire settlement. However, before you think you're going to have fun playing God over the populace, the game quickly informs you that all 3 machines that control said aspects of the settlement have all been damaged, and now it's your job to try and keep these meat-filled plates a-spinning. And unfortunately, it gets a whole lot worse from there, because not only are you trying to manage this utter disaster that's going on, but you only have robotic helpers to help you, and they are only good at doing one specific task each. And the one robot that was able to do all of the tasks is broken. And also, just to add a little extra bit of salt right into your eyeballs, there's a mass murderer guy who was the previous human AI who is now coming to hunt you down and unplug you for good. Do you feel tense yet? Yeah, good. Just no, please hurt me more. And here's the thing, every single move you make is punctuated by failure. Everything that you do will likely result in people dying. That's just a huge dollop of pressure right into my face. Thank you ever so much. And because this is a text-based adventure game, of course it's incredibly sarcastic about it all. In fact, you'll probably find that you've sentenced hundreds, if not thousands of people to their death just because you didn't turn a crank to 75 degrees and did it to 80. Oh, slow down, you madman. Now you've got all their deaths on your hands. Not that you can feel them, because as I said before, you're a human battery plugged into what is effectively a Casio watch. Fantastic. But here's the thing, I know that you're just sitting there thinking, well, it's just a death toll. How is that a weird stat to keep track of? It's how specific it gets. It's how nailing and biting the comments of all of your failures are after every single move. It becomes an obsession of the video game to remind you of your place. and your place is underneath its goddamn shoes. So yeah, it's pretty brutal. Also, never play the game on impossible mode, and you want to know why? Because after 3 turns, the sun explodes. I wish I was making this up. Number 4, distracting robots with cigarettes. Vanquish. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this one is just very, very, very cool. As you all might be aware by now, I utterly adore Vanquish and its foot-to-the-floor, over-the-top action spectacle speed. Now, the plot might be absolute guff and the acting so corny that the Green Giant wants a piece, but it has incredible set pieces, unique traversal mechanics, and utterly insane atmosphere that just makes it a truly memorable piece of gaming. In fact, did you know that every single bullet that is being fired by both you and the enemies is actually tracked in real time, so that when you slow down, you can actually see the specific bullets moving along? Take a look at some of these action sequences and now try and figure out that somebody had to sit there programming every single flight path of these. That's insane. Shinji Mikami, you've outdone yourself here. And you've also provided us with a brilliant little thing that the game keeps track of, namely the cigarettes. Now, Sam Gideon is a heavy smoker. In nearly every scene, he lights up a death stick like his lungs are about to get repossessed and he's not planning on getting his security deposit back. And it turns out that the player can actually use his addiction for a tactical advantage. Now, when you're behind cover, Sam can light a cigarette and flick it away over the top. And because the robots that have been programmed to crush/kill/destroy focus on heat, they will track it with their guns, allowing you to basically hand them their own butts while they are following another. Smart stuff. Kill 2 robots with 1 distraction and you net a trophy, and if you bamboozle 10 of them, you'll net another one. Nice of the game to keep track of when smoking kills, definitely applies twice over. Number 3, Dead Rising 2, have a zombie fall in your own vomit. I mean, look at the title. How could I not include this on a list? The very fact that somebody, at some point in development of the outstanding Dead Rising 2, thought to themselves, hey, you know what? Chuck, when he drinks too much, he throws up, doesn't he? He does. He does indeed. He throws up like it's just like a fountain of sick coming out of him. Well, what if we weaponized it slightly so that if enemies walk on it, they'll slip up? That's a barrel of laughs, that is. Yes, that thought will never not be funny to me, nor will the act of seeing it play out. There's nothing quite like seeing the sight of our hero riding that yellow river straight to the floor while slipping over on it, especially if it also happens to be while he's talking about how his little girl needs Zombrex, and things only get better when you manage to lure a zombie into the same predicament. Now, this poor creature has a pretty terrible life as is, but now its overwhelming desire to eat flesh has been overridden by the overwhelming amount of shame that it's going to feel after all of its zombie mates point and laugh at the fact that he's got some bloke's puke all over him, likely mere seconds before he's completely ripped apart by one of the insane weapons in this game or has a marital aid shoved down his throat for good measure. Dead Rising 2, it is a weird game, but I love it, and I love the fact that the game keeps track of this because you'll net a trophy if you make a zombie slip in your puke. How could I not include it? Number 2, Postal 2, how much urine you've sprayed. Why did this ever need to be tracked? Then again, this is Postal 2 that we're talking about, where you can set fire to people, cause absolute chaos, and even shove a gun up a cat's anus and use it as a silencer. No, I'm not sure how it works, and no, I do not want to talk about it. Still, upon completing this absolutely demented title, you are met with a ton of stats that the game has been keeping track of, and while most of them are your run-of-the-mill affair, a few stand out as just being, well, odd. For example, the game took a tally of every time you distracted a police officer with donuts before killing them, of how many old people that you've murdered, and there's even a special award if you manage to complete the game as a pacifist, which mockingly calls you Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, move over, mate. We all know it's Slime Jesus who's the real star of the show. There he is, praise him hard. And yes, the game has, of course, kept track of all of the gallons of piss that you've just sprayed away, forever reminding you of when you went wet and wild with your wee-wee. It's an absolute piss take of a stat, if you ask me. And number 1, Comic Jumper, The Adventures of Captain Smiley, the Stats Song. So we've detailed quite a lot of weird stats thus far, from how many orphans we've made to how many corpses we've eaten to, as I've just said before, how many gallons of piss that we have just sprayed everywhere. But you know what? They're feeling a bit flat. They're missing a certain something. Well, fret not, my friends, because Comic Jumper, The Adventures of Captain Smiley has got you covered, as here the game doesn't just track your stats, it sings them back to you when you visit the statistics menu. That's right, a full-blown song from the utter nutters at Twisted Pixel that details all of the bad guys that you've defeated, all of the collectibles that you've got, and how many times you've died. But through song, it's bliss. I have an enormous amount of respect for a developer willing to make even the process of reading a glorified spreadsheet fun, and it is a perfect expression of the sheer balminess that goes through all of their work. So you know what? There's only one thing I can say to describe this, and it is... noish. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 incredibly weird stats that video games kept track of. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, as well as your suggestions for next week's episode, because I would love to read them. And if you want to chat to me further, you can do so by going over to Twitter and typing in RetroJ with A0. You'll find me, this lovely Egg Daddy face right here. Or you can go to Live and Let's Dice, as my personal gaming channel where I stream every single Wednesday and Sunday. It would be great to see you over there. But before I go, my friends, I just want to say one thing. There is one thing that we can all do, one stat that we should always try and keep track of, and that is our own mental well-being. Sometimes it can be in the positive. We can gain a ton of experience by hanging out with friends and family and sharing all the love. And sometimes it can be in the negatives or a slow grower. And that, especially, is when we need to take care of ourselves. Treat yourself with love and compassion, because you goddamn well deserve it. There's only one of you, and you're a goddamn ledge. Don't let anything or anyone tell you otherwise. Take your foot off the gas if you're feeling that things are a bit too much. Just enjoy the scenery, relax as much as you can, be kind to yourself, take a break, speak to people. Just open dialogues and doors and conversations, and you will find that you will be able to live a healthier and happier life in the long run. I wish nothing but the best for you, my friend. I love you. Take care of yourself. I'll speak to you next week, alright? Peace out, everyone.